What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Live, your weekly spot for everything NFL. Every week at noon Eastern time, we break down every single 1 o'clock game, the 4 o'clock games, and look forward to Sunday Night Football. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit extra excited today because we have the most anticipated regular season game of all time. And AB is about to throw a stat at you that's going to blow your mind on how popular tonight's Bucs-Patriots game is. And don't forget, we will be back here live at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight for a full hour counting down to the Bucs-Patriots, looking back at all of our bets of the day, and also in real time looking at the finishes of all the 4 o'clock games as well. But we got a lot to get to, so no more wasted time. Let's bring in the stars of the show. You know the names, you know the faces, and we love them all. Right next to me, he is a savant. We call him M Squared. Mike McClure. Good morning, Mikey.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, guys. Love this show. Let's go. I'm going to be finishing up my DFS lineups, but you'll have 100% of my attention in about 3 minutes. Almost done.
Bro, I don't care if we get 40%. That's better than a lot of people's 100%. Speaking of people like that, AB, good morning, sir. Good afternoon.
Hey, you know what? Good afternoon. And hey, I'm just happy to be here. Love this team. I love this show. This one gets me prepared just as much as everyone else. It's fantastic.
Now, real quick, give me the nugget that you sent to me. I don't want to take credit for it. What was the number that you gave me about bets tonight on the Bucs-Patriots?
Yeah, Bucs-Patriots is going to be the most bet regular season NFL game of all time. And to give you an idea how large that it is, at points bet alone, that sportsbook alone, which most sportsbooks are seeing the exact same, there are more bets on the Bucs spread than any other NFL game today, both teams combined. That's how much people are betting this game. It's insane.
How has that number not just skyrocketed? I have no idea. I had to put it in early because I'm scared to death it's going to jump like a point or two by the end of the day. But you guys are the experts, and I'm going to follow your lead. Speaking of a man who gets fired up for this show, you can just tell it's oozing out of his pores. Alex, by the way, congratulations on the new platform. It was so popular, everybody at home, he literally had to shut down for a couple of minutes because he had so many people trying to get in. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Coach. How's it going? I just got a text message from my mom that she's watching, so shout out, Mom. I love you. And I'm so excited.
What's Mom's name? What is Mom's name?
Leisha.
Welcome to the Early Edge. Your son is a beast, an absolute beast. We love him. Love when moms watch. I don't know if my mom's watching right now or not. I don't know. I have to text her. All right, we got a lot to get to, so let's get into it. And as you guys know, we like to change lives in the process. 100 likes, pound that like button. We'll give away a year-long sub. 200, you get the drill. But when we get to 500, look what we have for you. Brand new, off the presses. After 500 likes, for every 100, we're going to give away one of these. I'm going to be changing this to that very, very soon, and you could have yours brand new Early Edge pint glass. There's nothing better than an ice cold beverage while you're sweating out an under that AB gives out on the show. Now, let's get into it. Boys. Now, as we go through every single game, you guys will throw in your picks, props. If you have a question in that particular game, leave it in the comment section. As you know, we'll get to as many as we possibly can because we only have an hour to do it. So, boys, if you are ready, let's get it going. Now, first game, as AB said, the most popular game of the week. Washington and the Falcons coming in strong. Here's what the numbers look like right now on that game. Falcons minus 1.5. The total sitting at 47.5. AB, start it off for us today.
Yeah, Coach, I think this game all comes down to what Washington defense shows up. They've given up 390-plus yards in 3 straight games, and you look at the points total that they've allowed in the last 3 weeks, it's just continuously going up. They've given up, 26, 20, 29, and 43. So there's just nothing to appreciate with this Washington team right now. They're not playing good football at all. And them on the road, I know that Atlanta is not that good of a football team, but a home team getting points against a poor Washington defense, there's not much that I can trust right now with Washington.
Well, R.J. White is on the Falcons already. We talked about it earlier in the week on our mega preview. Is anybody else kind of leaning towards the Falcons based off of what AB just said? Alex?
I'm not. I'm leaning more towards Washington, but at the same time, Washington has been super disappointing this year. I was super high on them this season. I expected them to contend for the division, but yeah, obviously not the case. I think the loser of this game is going to be on the outside looking in at the playoff race. So yeah, even though it's week 4, this is a super pivotal game for both teams, but I do expect Washington to perform better today. I expect the defensive line to be dominant or potentially a lot better than they have been against a very putrid Falcons offensive line.
I'm going to jump in there and say, I'll basically say the same thing. I think that the Washington defense might look a little bit better today. And a lot of that is going to be on Matt Ryan. It's about time that Washington gets to face a quarterback here that isn't really mobile. I think that's going to help their defensive line a ton, generate some pressure on them. What I'm most interested in Washington is to see, what does Curtis Samuel look like? He's activated. He's healthy, supposedly. He's been battling that issue for 4 months. If he is going to be out there and playing significant snaps, he is a legitimate big play threat at literally any moment. So I think that helps them a lot. I'm not touching the game, but I do like Mike Davis a little bit. I think Mike Davis is going to have to be involved in the passing game. So that's where I'm at on it. I'm not playing the game, but I do like a little bit of Mike Davis, and I'm going to be watching very closely to see what Samuel looks like for Washington.
KC in the comment section said, stay away. And I think that is a consensus for all of us. Just kind of, we preach all the time. Mike, you always say, you don't have to bet every game just because it's on the board. Because so many of us love to do that, but you don't. And this is a game that screams, stay away. All right. Somebody needs to turn down their computer because I'm hearing myself like 3 seconds after from somebody out there. So adjust that if you can. All right. Game number 2, and this is a very, very interesting game from a lot of different reasons. The Texans coaches said that they were too conservative on their game plan with the new quarterback in Mills last week. They're going to open it up today. So I was kind of looking at the over in this game. Bills minus 17.5. Crazy number. Screams teaser to me. Total 47. Alex, how about you start this one?
Yeah, I would lean over on this as well, Coach. We've seen the Bills. They come out. They're super aggressive. They throw the ball, even when they're up multiple scores. Josh Allen is averaging, I think, more pass attempts than any quarterback in the NFL. The Texans have a very vulnerable secondary. So I expect a lot of explosive plays from the Bills. They're going to continue to just air it out late into the game. And, if they're playing prevent defense, I could see the Texans even moving the ball on the other side. So, I definitely like the over, and I expect the Bills to be very aggressive and continue to get lots of guys involved. I expect Stephon Diggs to have a big game in this breakout game. I don't think he's topped 100 yards yet, so I'm expecting Allen to target him and, see a lot of big plays in the passing offense.
Jeweler, can you look up Stephon Diggs' number for me real quick, please? Mikey, how do you feel about the over in this one and the fact that I already played it?
That's definitely the way I would lean if I had to play a total in the game. Similar to what Alex said, I do think that this Bills team, even though the weather is typically not great there, I think they try to run it up. It's kind of like that Josh Allen MVP campaign. I think that they're going to let them run up the score as much as they can, especially at home in front of those fans. So I think they're going to continue to try and pour it on, which is going to be leading to, again, a lot of bend, don't break defense. The Texans are going to move the ball. As long as they can convert a couple of those opportunities, I think the over is a pretty strong play in this game.
All right, so the Jeweler just brought up the numbers for Stephon Diggs. Alex, if you can see those, I'm having a hard time reading it. Thank you.
84.5, I believe, Coach.
Thank you. 84.5. What do you, Alex? What do you like at that number? Over, under?
It's high. I think it's accurate. I think he's going to flirt with between 80 and 90 yards. I also obviously could see a good chance for him to break 100. Just depends on how late in the game they're throwing to him. But I'm expecting him to have this be his breakout performance. I mean, he's been solid all 3 weeks, but he hasn't topped 100 yards yet. So I expect this to be a big game for him.
Did you say break 100? Did you say break 100? Because guess what? We just broke 100 likes on the show right from the start. Man, I love how you put all that together. So here's our first winner of a year-long sub. Welcome to the family at Teflon San, at Teflon Saan. That's our first winner. I'm hoping to give away 10, 12, 14. Pound that like button. You can only do it once. Take the comments down, hit the like, bring the comments right back up, and put anything you want in there within reason. All right, moving on to our third game on the board today. Lions and the Bears, NFC North Division, or as the man who sat next to me at ESPN for all those years, Chris Berman, said, the Lions and the Bears. He would actually do that in his office, just practicing. I would just hear him in there going, Lions and the Bears. All right, Bears -3. Total 41.5. By the way, I apologize. I have to go back really quick because the Maestro, who is out today, gave us a pick on that Texans-Bills game. All right? Brandon Cooks over 68.5 receiving yards. Okay? Brandon Cooks over 68.5 receiving yards. That's an official play on the show for the Maestro. All right, back to the Lions and the Bears. And Mikey, I'm going to let you start this one. What do you like?
Nothing. I really can't. I can't pick a side on this one. Super low total. I think that, I have a little exposure to both running backs in DFS, and a lot of it is just, the quarterback play on the side of the Bears with Fields. It just makes me incredibly, incredibly nervous to back them, especially if they get in a spot where they have to really throw. I think he's going to turn the football over. So I don't feel comfortable with it. The model is going to tell me to take the Bears, especially if you can still get it -2.5. It's going to tell you that it should be 5, but I am going to be completely honest with you. I do not trust it. I think the Bears still have a good defense that they can lean on, but I'm gonna watch parts of this game, but I wish I could give you more, but I'm not gonna.
It's okay. Sometimes, Mikey, giving us that is giving us more, because the one thing we pound all the time is you don't have to play. That's the second time in the show we've already said that. Now, I will say this, AB. The Maestro's on the Lions +3. Matty Severance, he's on the Bears -2.5. Who do you agree with?
Yeah, that was tough. Look, I'll say this. We talked about it last week with the Browns. That was the worst spot that Justin Fields could have come into. The absolute worst spot. The Browns defense was way too fast, way too good. This is a much better defense to go up against with the Detroit Lions. The problem, and the Maestro's correct on this, the Bears' offensive line is going to have issues with the Lions' defensive front. They're going to get after Fields a little bit. However, Fields can move around in this one, and he's going to be able to use his legs that he couldn't against Cleveland last week. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take the Bears in this one. Honestly, I think their backs are against the wall. Everybody's going to rally around Fields. I'm going to roll with the Bears on this one. I'm going with Matty Severance over the Maestro, which seems crazy, but I'm doing it.
And if you read his description at SportsLine when he makes this an official pick, he can't even convince himself that he's picking the Bears in this game. I mean, go and read it. It's hilarious. Now, YouTube commenter Mike says that Detroit is his best bet. Mike, let me tell you, if Detroit is your best bet today, you've got bigger issues than whether or not they are going to cover. Now, Dave Richard from our prop show, with which Alex is a huge star of, is on Amon-Ra St. Brown, under 23.5 receiving yards. Alex, how do you feel about that play?
Yeah, I like that play a lot. I think Dave mentioned he's like 4th or 5th in the pecking order on Lions. He's receiving a really small target share. Goff is just peppering his backs and his tight ends, TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift. So yeah, he's not really throwing the ball deep down the field. Yeah, I think it's a really solid play.
All right, very good. All right, moving on to our 4th game of the day, and continue to pound that like button. We're almost at 200 already. You guys are so amazing that even if you're already a SportsLine member, we'll give you an upgrade if you win, or you can help somebody else become a SportsLine member. So keep hitting that like button and all the comments in the comment section. By the way, we want to know, do you think the Bucks cover tonight? Give me a 1. Or do you think the Patriots somehow cover that 7? Give me a 2. Just put them in the comments section. We want as much activity as we possibly can get. All right, this next game, this is a very, very pivotal game. It really is. The Panthers come in undefeated, but they haven't been rolling over teams, and now Christian McCaffrey is out for probably several weeks with that hamstring injury. So the Cowboys are favored by 4. The total's at 51.5. Now, I know, AB, that you have 2 different plays in this game. Talk to me.
Absolutely, Coach. I'm on the Cowboys -4. I'm also on Sam Darnold over half an interception. Essentially just needs to throw 1 pick in the game. And here's why. The Cowboys lead the league in total takeaways defensively. And in a game without Christian McCaffrey and where Sam Darnold is going to have to throw it 32, 33, 34, 35 times in this game, I'm going to take the Cowboys defense in this. Plus, I don't know if the Panthers are built to be in a shootout. You look at Dak Prescott, 5 of his last 8 games that he started, the Cowboys have scored 30-plus points. Now, don't get me wrong, Carolina's a heck of a team, and Sam Darnold is a better quarterback. I am not, being negative on him whatsoever. He's thrown, I think, 200-plus yards in the first half in 2 of his last 3 games. But I just don't know if this team is built to go toe-to-toe if Dallas's offense shows up. It's really about Dallas. If their offense shows up, it's going to be a rough day for Carolina.
And that's what I'm certainly hoping for. I'm really hoping for. Real quick, because this is what we do. We pivot really quick. We'll get right back to this game. But, Alex, I have a question for you in the YouTube comment section. That St. Brown prop, if you don't like the receiving yards, do you like the longest reception under 14.5 yards? Very quick.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
I like
quick.
it.
Nice. My man knows how I like it. When I say quick, give me one word. All right. Now, back to the Panthers and the Cowboys. You're on a play in this game, Alex. What do you got?
I am, Coach. Yeah, I'm on Chuba Hubbard over 23.5 receiving yards. Last week after taking over for an injured C-Mac, he turned 5 targets into 3 receptions for 27 yards and finished with a similar snap share despite the limited action in the game. This was also in a game where the Panthers were winning wire to wire against the Cowboys. It could potentially produce some better game script. The Carolina offense just really prioritizes targets to the running back position. They don't have a quality pass catching tight end or a volume slot receiver, so the running backs tend to soak up a lot of high percentage short area targets close to the line of scrimmage. C-Mac has just an absurd 23% target share when he's in the game. I'm not expecting nearly that from Chuba, obviously, but it's very encouraging how Carolina likes to deploy their running backs. 3 running backs have gone over this total in the last 3 weeks versus the Cowboys. Week 1, Leonard Fournette went 5 for 27. Eckler went 9 for 61 in week 2. In week 3, Kenneth Gainwell went 3 for 32. And yeah, the Cowboys have given up the 5th most receiving yards to opposing running backs this season, 176 for an average of 58 receiving yards per game.
There is nothing I love more than a prop star's rant on a prop that he feels really, really good about. I just want to sit back and listen. I freaking love it. Mikey, I'm going to get to you, but I've got to give away 2 more year-long subs because you guys are killing it right now on that like button. So here we go. Changing lives at Eldrick Bow, and then at DHale243. The jeweler will reach out to you and tell you how you can be a part of the SportsLine family. Remember, you got to put your Twitter handle in the comment section so we can get a hold of you if you win. We're sitting at 260 right now. Let's get to 300. I'll give away 3 more. Now, Mikey, there's a play that I put in the second that you gave it out on the morning show because it moved like that. And I believe it's going to continue to move when the books, all of them, realize you gave it out. What do you like today in this game?
Yeah, I like the over for Amari Cooper, 60.5 receiving yards. I think it's a really great spot for Amari Cooper. I think the game can be a lot more competitive than people think. I like that Alex is on the other side with Hubbard. I think that aligns really well for Hubbard's game script. If Amari is playing well, the Cowboys are moving the ball well. I just think this is a great spot for him. I think that Carolina knows what they have to do, and what they have to do is not get destroyed by that offensive line in the running game. I think they're going to stack the box and make them throw for it a little bit. I think it's going to be a lot of short targets. We're talking 8 to 10 yards depth of target to Amari Cooper. I think he's going to rack up several of those today. So I like the over, and I would lean towards the Cowboys in the game, but I do think it's going to be competitive most of the way.
Alex, you're shaking your head. You like that?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Amari to have kind of his little breakout game. I like to play a lot. I think it also, like Mike said, it correlates well with the Hubbard play. I expect the Cowboys to move the ball. Carolina's defense has been phenomenal. But yeah, I expect this game to be competitive and both teams to at least move the balls between the 20s. So I like it.
So here are our official plays. If you want to write them down, I know you do throughout the show on this game alone. AB is on Sam Darnold over. He just has to throw 1 interception. We cash that ticket. And the Cowboys -4. Alex is on Chuba Hubbard over 23.5 receiving yards. Matty Severance is on the Cowboys also. And then Mikey just gave you that Amari Cooper over 60.5 receiving yards. All right, moving on. Our next game, also 1 Eastern game, Colts and the Dolphins. And when I looked at, guys, the early slate, this was kind of the only game that I didn't care about, that I looked at and said, I have no idea what's going on. Lions and Bears was close, but this one took the cake for me. Dolphins -2.5, total sitting on 42.5. Alex, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm not terribly excited about this game either, but there are some interesting prop scenarios that I'm looking at. For instance, I'm interested to see if Jonathan Taylor has his breakout game. He's been held under 70 yards in all 3 games to start the season. I was expecting him to make a push for maybe most rushing yards this year, but obviously the Colts line is banged up, and yeah, he's not gotten off to the best start. But Miami's run defense has been terrible, so I think this is an advantageous matchup for him. I think this is a spot that he can play well. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at some props just to see, this week and future weeks, what kind of data I can collect. But yeah, I'm interested to see how the Colts running game looks today. If it doesn't look good versus this Dolphins defense, it is in serious trouble.
Mikey, RJ White is on the under in this game, and Matty Severance is on the Dolphins -2. Do you agree with either one?
I would lean towards the under. Like Alex just said, I think the Colts are going to prioritize running the football here, and hopefully this week for their sake too, just taking care of the football. I think we're going to look at some longer sustained drives. I do think it's a lot of Jonathan Taylor, so I would lean that way despite the low total of 42. I would lean that way if I had to play it. As far as backing the Dolphins, I don't feel super comfortable with it. I still think that the Colts are a better team than their record indicates. So if I had to play the side, I would take the points with the Colts. And I like the under if I had to play the total.
AB?
Yep. You want to know a stat? I'll give you a stat. Carson Wentz, he's lost 7 straight starts. He's 3-11-1 since the start of last season. And he has more interceptions, turnovers, than he does touchdowns. And he leads the NFL in sacks since last year with 58. And he's hurt.
So you're saying bet the Colts is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
What I'm saying, I think RJ White is correct on the under.
The money line, by the way, if anybody's interested, on the Dolphins is -143. So if you didn't want to, I know it's a small number, but we know in the NFL, 1-2 can happen all the time. So if you're so inclined, based off what AB just said, maybe the money line is something that you might want to play. I'm staying away, and I think the show is staying away, other than RJ White, who's the best capper that we have, and he's on the Dolphins. So I may go with the Dolphins too. All right, we're getting very close now. We say all the time we want this show to be interactive. We want you to be a part of us. Brandon, YouTube comment, said that he just ordered his early edge gear and is going to be here on October 6th. We encourage you to order your early edge gear, and I can tell you that I'm working on a new store as well that we're going to have everybody in there, all the sayings, all the cappers, everybody, and we're also going to run contests. So if you get a shirt or a sweatshirt or a hat or anything, it could pay off down the road. We're building, and we're building something very, very big. Now, let's move on to our next game. Browns, Vikings. This one is basically a pick 'em. Currently, the Browns are now favored -1. So the public has been moving on the Browns. The total at 51.5. Mikey, talk to me.
Yeah, this one's super fascinating. There's a lot of pieces that I like in this game. I think that you got to be looking at Justin Jefferson and Odell Beckham if you're looking towards props. I think that this is a great spot for both of those players. I think that obviously some of the market movement here is based on the fact that Alvin Cook is available to play for Minnesota. I like them at +2. I still think they're a fine team. I like when Kirk Cousins is slinging the ball out there. I don't have a play in this one, unfortunately, but if I did, I would actually lean towards the under. I think that the running backs are good enough here to move the ball, and I think they keep the clock running just enough that they're going to – I think that the under is my top play at 51.5. I think it should be 49, but other than that, I don't have anything in it other than some small interest in daily fantasy.
Okay. Alex, I'm going to come to you because I know you got a very important play in this game, but I can tell you this. When I say, sometimes I'm joking, but most of the time I'm not, when I say my guys move the market or change the market. So we just had a commenter say that the minute that Mikey gave that Amari Cooper total, DraftKings took it down. The second, took it down. Is it a coincidence? Coincidences don't happen in sports betting. They just don't happen. So that's how good my guy is and how respected he is in this space. All right, back to Alex. Because sometimes I like to it's like holding a meat for a dog. When I just make him wait a little bit, he gives me more. What do you got, Alex?
Dangling a carrot, coach. Yeah, I agree with Mike. This game is really fascinating. I can't wait to watch this game. This is one of the games I'm highlighting, going to spend a lot of time looking at. But yeah, the prop I have in this game is also, I want to say I agree with Mike regarding Jefferson and Odell Beckham. I both like their overs. But yeah, the prop I have in this game is Kareem Hunt over 61.5 rushing and receiving. That's combined rushing and receiving yards. Kareem is averaging 89 combined rushing and receiving yards per game this season. He's had at least 61 combined yards in 2 of 3 games to start the year. He's averaging 6.9 yards per touch. Even if he gets 10 touches, that would still get him to 69 yards. The Vikings are surrendering the 4th most total yards per game, 410 yards per game. Yeah, I just love the way they're using Hunt. He's almost like in a 50-50 timeshare as far as snaps are concerned with Chubb. He's getting all the passing down work. And yeah, I expect the Browns to have to keep up with a very high-powered, very impressive Minnesota offense. I've been extremely impressed with Kirk Cousins this year. He's just been spreading the ball around. It'll be interesting to see how Mike has mentioned in the past, kind of how the offense looks without Dalvin Cook compared to with Dalvin Cook, is when Dalvin's on the field, they tend to force in the ball, and it kind of disrupts the flow of the offense. We saw how great they look when Madison was the running back. So, yeah, I can't wait to watch this game, and, yeah, that's a prop that I love.
Well, we just hit 300 likes. I'll get to you, AB. 300 likes, and I will get you 3 winners as soon as we possibly can. But I've got to ask you, because some books, Alex, don't give the combination prop. So my book has receiving at 17.5 and rushing at 39.5. For people who are like me and live in a state where I only have certain books I can use, would you like either one if we can't play the combo?
I'd prefer you to stay away. The reason I like the combo is because it kind of balances out the game script. In a scenario where the Browns are winning, you can rely on the rushing attempts. And in a scenario where they're trailing, you can rely on Kareem to get involved in the passing game. So that's why I like the combination, because it kind of offsets, some game script potential. So I'd prefer you to stay away.
Educate, entertain. Educate, entertain. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the questions we got to ask. AB, what do you got, pal?
Yeah, if you're somebody who likes to play props based on numbers that you think it mathematically they have to hit, or you're going to ride the trend, there's 2 in this game. Kirk Cousins hasn't thrown an interception in 200 straight passes, and the Cleveland Browns are the only team in the NFL that does not have a receiving touchdown from wide receiver this year.
So what you're saying is play Kirk Cousins over a half interception, and you're also playing Baker Mayfield over his touchdown pass total, I guess.
There you go.
All right. Dave Richard is also on a prop in this game, gentlemen. And, Mikey, I'm going to go with you. Odell Beckham. There's been an Odell Beckham sighting. 5 catches, 77 yards a week ago. But we know he's injury prone. We know he doesn't show up a lot. But if he's healthy, he is dynamic. Dave Richard gave us over 65.5 receiving yards. Mikey, do you like it?
I do. Yeah, I think this is a great spot. I have the number at 73, so that's a play that I would make if I had to make that play. I'm using him in DFS. I haven't decided if I'm locking it in there yet, but I would agree with Dave for sure, and that's definitely where I would lean if you're looking at Odell Beckham.
All right, very good. All right, moving on. Got a lot more games to get to, and if you can believe it, we're already halfway done. That's how fast these hours go on Sunday. It literally is our favorite hour of the week. So we're crossing the bottom of the hour. We have a lot of new viewers coming in. Welcome to Early Edge Live. We do it every single Sunday at noon Eastern time. If you'd be so kind, hit that like button so we can give out as many SportsLine subscriptions as possible. And I've got the next 3 winners in my feed right now. So here we go. Changing 3 more lives. At Northeast 323, at Kidney / and at Call Me Kingsley. All right? Jeweler, we'll reach out to you. Don't need to tweet me. I promise you. If he doesn't reach out in 48 hours, then tweet me. But don't do it before then. I promise. All right, let's move on. Giants, Saints, -7. The total sitting at 42. And I believe, AB, it's back to you. Talk to me.
Yeah, this game is going to be kind of ugly. There's just nothing much to believe in with this New York Giants team. The Saints get it done defensively. That's the problem. And their offense, while it hasn't been pretty in terms of yardage for Jameis Winston, they could get the ball to Alvin Kamara, in the air, and he could take care of a lot of that. I just don't trust New York in this spot. I don't have a play on it, but there's nothing about New York that I like in this because New Orleans can stop them at the line of scrimmage. New Orleans can stop them in the secondary. It's going to be tough. I'm interested to hear what the guys think about, Daniel Jones rushing props, et cetera, things like that, because it's going to be one of those games for New York.
Alex?
Yeah, Coach, I'm really interested to see Alvin Kamara's usage. To start the season, they have been just riding him like crazy. He's averaging over 19 carries a game. I think his career average is somewhere in the 12 range. Yeah, I just do not think that they can sustain giving this guy 20, 25 plus touches a week and expect that to be a viable plan for the entire season. The Saints offense is going to have to generate offense outside of Kamara. They're going to have to pass the ball with Winston or rely on Tony Jones Jr. in the running game or something. But yeah, I'm interested to see if they're just going to continue giving Kamara these massive workloads, because I don't think that's going to hold up for the duration of the season.
That's a great point by you. And Mikey, I want to come to you right now because Eric Brown, YouTube comment, said Alvin Kamara 2 touchdowns. Thoughts? Now, a lot of times the public, Mikey, can get enamored with these big numbers like plus 400 or plus 500 for a player to score multiple touchdowns, and it's really a sucker's bet. Based off of what Alex just said, how do you feel about touchdown props for Alvin Kamara?
I think it's fine if you'd like to take him to score 1. I wouldn't play the multiple touchdown one. I think that this game's going to be a little slower here for them. And like I said, the usage, I don't think that if they're winning a game and like in cruise control, I don't think they're going to pound it to them consistently throughout the year. I think they're going to get other guys involved just a little bit. So I don't feel great about it. Definitely not something I would play. If you like that, maybe play Alvin Kamara in daily fantasy. Where you still can obviously take advantage of that upside and get paid out if he doesn't land in the end zone twice, but not something that I would play.
Okay. Real quick, I need to stop the show because every now and then I've got to do this. So apparently we have a bettor who's watching the show. Apparently he does bets himself. Julia, you know which one I'm going to here. Go ahead and bring it up. Because earlier today I said that we are the most transparent show in the business, and I stand by that. So this is Paul. I don't know Paul. But here's what he said. I said, is many in our industry actually show their wagers. Take the heat when it's deserving, transparent, is showing your wagers. Have a good day, sir. Basically saying we don't show our wagers. There is literally a recap on every show. There is literally a recap on every show, either at the beginning, at the end. We show exactly what we've done. So, Paul, before you just make an idle comment, understand who you're talking to. Because it's not some run-of-the-mill guy who's sitting in his basement just doing this. We do this professionally, right? And I'm sure you're great at what you do. But we show every single play that we have. Do we not, boys? Do we not?
Yes.
Fires me up when somebody says that we don't do that. Fires me up. All right, now, by the way, RJ White, he's on the Giants in this game. Plus, if it's over 7. If it's 7, stay away. But he likes it at 7.5 and at 8. Okay, moving on. We just have, I believe, a couple more 1 o'clock games. 9 early games today, by the way. Titans and the Jets. This is a really cool one. And Alex, I'm going to come to you first. -6, total at 44.5, but the Titans are missing key players today. Talk to me.
Yeah, Coach, this is a game that the Jets can be competitive in. As you mentioned, the Titans are missing Julio Jones, A.J. Brown. Those are 2 of the most dominant receivers in the NFL. That's going to make a massive impact on Tennessee's side of the ball. I expect the Jets to be able to move the ball between the 20s against this Tennessee defense. The Jets, although they've been poor, they have played a very tough schedule. This is by far the softest defense they're going to play. So, yeah, I'm actually excited to see. I think we're going to see a competitive game. I'm interested to see how the Tennessee defense looks without their 2 stud wide receivers. I'm assuming it's going to be a massive workload for Henry, but I'm assuming he's going to face a very stacked box. So, yeah, it's interesting to see how this game will play out.
The number has moved down to 5.5, by the way, just a couple of minutes ago. So that's where it sits right now at Caesars Sportsbook. And the Chiefs, by the way, just went up to 7. Now, Dave gave this out, AB, on our prop show. Randy Bullock over 1.5 field goals made. Now, that's at -150. My book now has it at 2.5. I can't even play 1.5. So if you can play 1.5, do you like this, AB?
I love it, and I'll tell you why. Beyond all of that, of what he just laid out, which Alex is correct, the Titans punter is out this game too, Brett Kern. So legitimately, they are going to have to try everything that they can in terms of getting points on the board. So, yes, I think that's a great play. I'm on the first half under 22. The Titans are averaging only 9 points per half this season. The Jets are averaging 1 point per half in games this season. And if you're giving me a number of 22 where they have to score 3 touchdowns and a field goal to eclipse that in the first half, yeah. And I think Alex is correct here. Between the 20s, I think you're going to see a lot of clock movement here. I think it could be a pretty fast game. I think it could be a pretty ugly game. I like that Randy Bullock. That's a very smart play. I agree.
You had to bring the show to a halt talking about your first half under. You had to do it. Now, YouTube comment. David says it's about matchup and spots. Jets' favorite play today. Mikey, take this one, please.
It's a good spot for the Jets, honestly. If there's a spot where they're going to get an upset win, I think that this is a spot where they can do it. They get a very friendly and spot to do it in. They're at home. They're facing a team that we know exactly what the team's going to try to do. Obviously, it's a lot easier said than done stopping Derrick Henry when you know that they're going to run the ball to Derrick Henry. But removing those wide receivers, they're at home here. It's, this Titans team, obviously they've had a week to prepare, but there really wasn't a scenario the entire offseason or up until this week where they ever envisioned preparing for a football game without both of Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. So I think that, he's not necessarily wrong. I think it's gross and not fun to try and back this Jets team, but if there's a spot for him to go out there and steal one on the money line, I think this is a good spot for it.
All right. Alex, what do you got?
I'm also just to piggyback on what Mike said. I'm interested to see from a prop perspective Corey Davis's return against his old team, how he plays. I think that'll be interesting. He's going to be playing the Titans, who was drafted by, I think, 4th overall. So, yeah, I want to see how he performs.
Hey, I'll say this real quick. If you're looking from a prop perspective, a new wrinkle that the Titans have been using because A.J. Brown and Julio Jones really haven't been much of a factor in the offense this season is Derrick Henry in the passing game. He's just started to be able to catch these passes. Seasons before he wasn't really all that good at all at it, but they've been using that as a wrinkle. I think that number sits around 17.5 receiving yards. It's tough, but without any real receivers out there, yeah, that might be an added wrinkle you see today.
All right, Mikey.
And then one more on that one on the prop front. As we're talking about the game being more competitive, look at Jeff Swaim for the Tennessee Titans, the second tight end here. His receiving yardage prop is at 14.5. Hit that number last week. Obviously should see additional targets, but the reason why I like it, he's going to be on the field in some of the run blocking situations anyway, where they might be checking out of plays. They might be using him just a little bit more. Especially if the wide receivers like Westbrook and Chester Rogers really aren't able to generate the kind of separation needed to throw the football down the field. I think that the tight ends could be in for a big day. So there's some interest on the other tight end, but I think this one is my favorite here at 14.5, just because you're looking at one, potentially 2 catches for him. And if the game's going to be as competitive as we think, I think it's a pretty good look.
Very good. Sean in the comments section said the number for Derrick Henry today. Is that right? 118 is his number today. What do we think about that, Alex? 120.
125.5 right now at some of the books. Yeah.
What do we think about that, Alex?
Yeah,
you're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute. All right, go ahead.
It's a massive number, but he's going to receive 30 carries. So, I'm not personally playing the over, but I would never fade him in this spot. He's going to have just a monster workload. I also want to piggyback on what AB said. I love his receiving prop as well. He's been getting involved a ton in the passing game. And, without AB and Julio, they're going to have to figure out ways to generate offense. And I'm upset because I have Ryan Tannehill starting in a fantasy league this week and not excited about that prospect.
Wait a second. This is you upset? This is you upset? Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Mama, you raised a good boy. Mama, this is him upset. My goodness. He's fired up. He's upset.
Hey, if you want to take a look at Ryan Tannehill, a number, if you want to fade that Derrick Henry rushing number, Ryan Tannehill's passing number, I believe, is at 201.5. Zach Wilson is 25 yards higher in terms of that. So if you don't like that, the rushing yardage for Derrick Henry, take a look at Tannehill, because every single touchdown pass that he's thrown this year has been to a different person. So he's not afraid to mix it up.
Where do you find this stuff? It's unbelievable how you find this stuff. All right, keep pounding that like button. By the way, I always get one in the comment section. It says, Coach, I keep hitting the like button. It goes like, unlike, like, unlike. Now, I should make this very clear. I didn't think I had to, but I will. You can only hit it once. That's why it's so important. If you could hit it 100 times, we would have 100,000 every show. You can only hit it once. And for those of you who can't find it, take the comments down for a second, hit the like button, and then put the comments right back up. It's hidden under the comments. Sometimes I can't believe I have to explain that, but we love you all. We really do. Well, most of you. All right, moving on to another game that I think is going to get as much talk about it over the course of the next 20 minutes as we just had with the Tennessee game, and that's the Chiefs. So many people are saying, what's wrong with them? 1-2, defense stinks. Patrick Mahomes is making turnovers in September that he's never made before, but they're giving a touchdown on the road. Now, the jeweler just told me that it went up to an even 7. All right, the total at 54.5. Everybody has something on this game. So, Alex, let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this game, Coach. I have a prop that I have not given out, SportsLine special, that I really like. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire over 13.5 carries, rushing attempts. I saw it at minus 130 before we came on air. The Eagles are not sustaining drives whatsoever. They rank 29th out of 32 in time of possession this season. Hilaire's gone over in 2 of his the first 3 games this season. He's also had double-digit carries in 7 straight regular season games dating back to last season. Darrell Williams, the Chiefs' backup running back, is averaging just 3 carries, or just a little bit over 3 carries a game. He has 11 carries on the entire season. Clyde is just not really ceding many touches or rushing attempts to Williams. He's barely coming off the field. Williams just obviously has not looked good either. Get this, in week 2, the 49ers had 38 rushing attempts versus the Eagles. The Cowboys had 41 rushing attempts last week. And even the Falcons, despite losing 32-6 in week 1, had 26 rushing attempts versus the Eagles. So yeah, I love this spot. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire looked really good last week. I think they're going to run the ball a lot versus the Eagles. The Eagles are not going to be able to sustain drives. I think this is a great play.
Next level information. My goodness. Now, AB, I know you got to play in this one. What do you got?
I do. Yep, on Chiefs minus 6.5, and there's multiple reasons why. First off, I think that, Andy Reid going to the hospital, the Chiefs losing 2 straight, it's a natural come to Jesus meeting in that locker room to say, look, we need to focus. We need to figure this out. They're going on the road against the team that Andy Reid used to coach, and here is the biggest kicker. You noticed last week against Dallas, that Eagles offensive line was horrible. Well, guess what? It got worse today. Lane Johnson is out for the personal reason. So they are down 4 offensive line starters, including both tackles today. If the Chiefs defense can't get pressure and get right against that just porous offensive line, they never will. If you're ever going to ride the Chiefs 6.5, 7, whatever, today's the day to do it.
2 and now 12 or 2 and 13 against the spread in their last 14, 15 games. I know it's 2 and whatever. Oh, Mikey, this is our squad. It's very, very hard for us to take ourselves away and be objective. But if we're being objective, it has not looked good. You got 2 teams in the AFC West that are both 3-0, in the Raiders and the Broncos, and the Chargers are pretty good too and just beat the Chiefs last week in Arrowhead. What do you like in this game, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Chiefs. It's obviously a must-win game. I do like the emotional spot. I think it's good for them to get away from the home environment for once and go get this road victory. I think teams can really build and bond over big road wins and must-win spots. And I think that's exactly what they need, especially after Andy landing in the hospital after that. So I like Mahomes a ton today. I like Kelsey, as always. I do like the prop from Alex there on Clyde Edwards-Helaire's over on the rushing. I think this team's just going to move the football up and down the field all day. And I think they're going to come out with that sense of urgency. Like you talked about, where you just kind of chill and know that we can get it done. I think they run it up today. So I do like the Chiefs minus 6.5. I actually would consider Kansas City on an alternate line at minus 10. If you want to get some plus money on it, I think that it's definitely a must win for Kansas City. And I think they get it done.
All right, quickly, I want to add one more prop, and we got to keep it moving because we got several more games to get to. An hour just doesn't seem enough before this many good games today, right, guys? Zach Ertz. Dave is on Zach Ertz over 2.5 receptions, which should be a good place for that. If they're going to be behind, they're going to be throwing it a lot. And he's a very comfortable target for Jalen Hurts. And also the Maestro's backing you guys up with that Chiefs play as well. He's on the Chiefs minus the 7. All right, moving on to our 4 o'clock games now. All right, Cardinals and the Rams. It's just moved down to 3.5, guys, for the Rams, and the total sitting at 54 at SoFi. Everybody has something on this game. Mike, I'm going to let you start. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm actually leaning towards the under in it. I think that they're going to tighten up and play a defensive battle here. I know this one might scream over. That total at 54 is a pretty big number. I think it should be closer to 51 in this spot. So I'm going to be leaning towards the under pretty heavily in this game. I think that they're still going to keep the clock running. The Rams, Henderson's back. They're going to try to run their ball. They're going to look for short passes, keep the clock running. I really like the under in this game. I think that it's frankly too high right here.
We are 7 likes away from 400, so pound that like button. Namelia, thank you so much for your comment, saying if you can't find the like button, maybe you shouldn't be gambling. Maybe you shouldn't be gambling. I love that comment here at YouTube. All right, Alex, let's come to you because I know you got a play in this one for Arizona that you like.
I do. I'm also really excited about this game. I can't wait to see it. But yeah, I've got Max Williams over 18.5 receiving yards. He's a tight end on Arizona. He's gone over this in 2 of 3 games to start the season. He had a breakout performance. 7 catch, 94-yard performance in week 2 versus the Vikings. Last year, Arizona tight ends averaged 4.5 receptions, 46 receiving yards a game. Dan Arnold, who has left Arizona, Max has replaced him and received 100% of the tight end target shares the last 2 weeks. He's been on the field for 77% of the snaps. This game projects to be very high scoring. I think the total's in the mid-50s or low 50s. Yeah, so a bunch of points are expected. Murray's going to have to look elsewhere from his, preferred targets with Ramsey in coverage, Darius Williams on the other side. The Rams defense has also been a tight end funnel in 2021. They're giving up 79 yards a game to the position, 4th worst in the NFL, 7 receptions a game, 2nd worst in the NFL. Yeah, this is just like a low enough number that he can get there in 2 or 3 catches. So yeah, I like Max Williams over 18.5 receiving yards.
I freaking love it. Quickly, I'm going to give out 2, and then I'm going to come to you, AB. The Maestro weighed in today on this game as well. He loves Cooper Kupp over 6.5 receptions. I know some places it's already gone up to 7.5. If you can get a 6.5, play that. And then DeAndre Hopkins under 68.5 receiving yards as well. Now, AB, I know you got 2 plays in this game. Talk to me.
I do. So, whenever me and you go in like a SportsLine showdown and you just beat me, just whip me, right? Like every single time?
Like every time?
Every time.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
That's what Sean McVay does to the Rams or does to the Cardinals. He's 8-0 straight up, 7-0-1 against the spread. Kyler Murray's never beat him. Cliff Kingsbury's never beat him. And the total margin in those games are around the average 22 points. But look, here is what it's going to get it done. I'm on the Rams -4. I'm also on Kyler Murray over a half an interception, essentially throw, 1 interception in the game. Kyler's averaging 1.3 interceptions per game this season, but you look at what the Rams are doing. This team is incredible. All those stats aside, Sean McVay's never had a team this good. And in 4 of the last 6 between the Rams and Cardinals, the Cardinals have scored less than 10 points in 4 of the last 6.
Sometimes the bet's right in front of you. Sometimes the play is right in front of you. And Kyler Murray is the only player in the NFL that when you're watching multiple TVs, you look over and all of a sudden he's walking off, shaking his head, and he threw one of those bad interceptions. More than any other player ever. So I love that over 1 or half interception. All right, we got to move on. We got a few more games to get to, and we are down to just 10 minutes. We got to allow people to get their bets in as well. So Seahawks 49ers, we have no official plays on this game. Does anybody like something in this game?
I like Seattle. I think this is a massive bounce back spot, kind of get right spot for them. Similar to Kansas City, I think it's an absolute must win game. I think it's a great spot for them. I just locked in some Seattle and Russell Wilson in daily fantasy. I think it's a great spot for DK Metcalf. Obviously there are playmakers on the other side that they have to be concerned with, but I think this is that spot where we talk about, man, the Seahawks, they've really struggled. They've been very inconsistent. Now they have a division road game. But I think it's a spot where they can go in there and steal one. So I like Seattle with the points.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Move on. Alex? You're on mute, pal. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Coach. Yeah, I like DK Metcalf as well this week. I believe Lockett's banged up with a hip injury. So, yeah, I'm expecting Metcalf to have a big game. Niner secondary is banged up, missing their top corner. So, yeah, I like that as well.
All right. Very good. All right. We got 2 more games to get to. And then tonight we will break down the Bucs and the Patriots from every single angle. We promise you at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Ravens and Broncos, another really interesting game today. It's like every game on the board just about is very interesting. So this is a 4:25 Eastern game, -1 for Denver, who's undefeated. Total at 44. We know Lamar Jackson is banged up. He's had back issues. Alex, let's go to you because I know you have a play in this one.
Yeah, I can't. This is probably my favorite game of the week to look at. Just I'm really interested to see how Denver looks versus a viable opponent, to see if they're legit. I can't wait for this game. But yeah, the prop that I have is Tim Patrick over 41.5 receiving yards. I think this is shot up somewhere near 50. I'm personally not playing it there, but yeah, I love Tim Patrick. He's piled up 135 yards on 8 catches in just 2 games since being inserted into the starting lineup after Jerry Jeudy suffered a significant ankle injury in the first week of the season. All that production has also come in negative game scripts where the Broncos were up early and just primarily running clock in the second half of both games. There's some additional targets up for grab in Denver's offense. KJ Hamler was just placed on injured reserve. I mentioned Jerry Jeudy being out. I think Tim Patrick is one of the most underrated receivers in the NFL. He's 6'4". He has amazing body control. He's going to square off against a Baltimore secondary that has uncharacteristically been terrible this season. They're surrendering 314 passing yards per game. That's the 3rd most in the NFL. Patrick has just been ultra reliable, ultra efficient for Teddy Bridgewater. He's turned 13 targets into 12 catches with a 14.5 yard per catch average. That is with a deep average depth of target. So he is hyper efficient. Despite being targeted deep down the field, I'm a huge Tim Patrick fan. I love this play. It should have opened at 50 yards. One of my favorite props this week.
YouTube question from Thomas. What about Tim Patrick over 3.5 catches? Quickly.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Yes. Anybody else in this game? We move on to the last. Yes, we're all good. All right. Last game. Another banger. Steelers and the Packers at Lambeau. Late, 4:25. The sun's going to go down in the 3rd quarter. We love that. -6 Green Bay. Total 44.5. Packers coming off that incredibly emotional victory. Last second drive in 37 seconds. Aaron Rodgers got it done. So RJ White, he's on the Packers -6.5. And then Mikey, you have a play on this one. Let's go to you.
Yeah, I like Alan Lazard. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is out. I think that he's going to step in and replace some of that. I know in the past they've thrown in other wide receivers and kept roles similar and taken some deep shots. However, I think that Aaron Rodgers actually likes Lazard. I think that they have a lot of good chemistry. So this number is 28.5. I have it all the way up to 44. I think it's a pretty big edge on his over. I think the game could be a little more competitive initially than people think. I think Green Bay will obviously pull away at the end. I don't think the Steelers, frankly, can score enough points to win this one outright. Possibly they can, but so I would lean towards the Packers. But my favorite play in the game, you can lean on Devontae Adams over if you want. I do think he has a 100-yard day again, but Alan Lazard is the biggest edge.
AB, you got something?
Yep. The Steelers have only won 1 of their last 4 on the road. The Packers are 15-2 their last 17 at Lambeau with an average margin of victory of 11.8 points per game. This isn't going to be pretty. I think there's a little bit maybe of a letdown for the Packers offense in terms of what we've seen the last 2 weeks. I don't think it's like perfect, right? But it's well enough to beat this Steelers team. I don't see how that they keep up at all.
Yeah, I think this is going to be that season where Big Ben just struggles through. It could be 9-8, 8-9, something like that. They're just not a good team. They're just not a good team. All right, I got a few things I got to take care of. Then we got to get out of here because the 1 o'clock game start in 5 minutes. So we have 4 more winners. Thank you so much for getting us to 400 likes today. At Papa Bear 1855. I didn't know that your other Twitter handle, Alex, was looking for a SportsLine subscription. At Tanker 1186, at LBet27A, and at Lex Luker 88. Also, the result of our YouTube poll: 89% of you expect the Bucs to cover the 6.5 point spread tonight. All right, we'd like to close every single show with a 30-second take on whatever our cappers are most looking forward to today. AB, let's start with you.
Going to be a great slate of games. Trust your judgment. What we gave out earlier on the early edge this morning. If you could pick who you think is going to win the game, 39 out of 49 times, that team covered the spread. 79.5%.
Boom. Alex.
Excited. This is, to me, the most compelling slate we've had on a Sunday. So, a ton of good matchups. I've got a bunch highlighted. I mentioned Minnesota and Cleveland. I also can't wait to see Denver versus Baltimore. Those are my 2 favorite games of the week. So, yeah, super excited.
And we'll talk about all those tonight at 7 o'clock. Mikey, close us out.
Yeah, super excited to see the Kansas City Chiefs bounce back here, and then really looking to see what the Dallas Cowboys and this Carolina matchup looks like, see how for real this Carolina team is. Let's go Amari Cooper, obviously, over 60.5, and then I hope that I'm right on Alan Lazard and the Green Bay Packers here because I love those 2 props today.
All right, very good. We got 4 minutes to get them all in. Jeweler, quickly, let's throw up the recap. And this is what we've given you. Soak it in. Soak it in. We gave it to you throughout the day, throughout the week. You should have all these in. If you haven't, look at them, breathe it in, take a snapshot, and get in as many as you possibly can. You should, if you follow us, know by now you get them in as we give them out during the week. This looks fantastic. All right, there's only one thing left to do. You've got your marching orders. I love this every single Sunday. Let's take all of these NFL tickets straight to the pay window. For AB, for M Squared, for Alex, the guru, for the jeweler, for our entire team at SportsLine. We love all of you. Thanks for rolling with us. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time to talk all things Bucks and Patriots and about all our tickets that we cashed this afternoon. Best of luck. Tell your friends your favorite show. It's the Early Edge. Best of luck.
Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.